He says, my girlfriend just graduated college and has a $125K in student loans. I'm planning on supporting us financially so that she can put 100% of her income into getting debt free. Is this the right path?
You
keep giving me the worst looks. You're like, these are too hard.
There's one small nuance here that just there's one small nuance here.
This is like saying, hey, should we do a prenup?
Yeah, hey.
I don't know. We don't know anything about Dan and his girlfriend. We don't know the dynamic of the relationship. We don't know what baggage or what assets they're all bringing in.
Let's assume for a moment. We're gonna play fairy tale here. Let's assume for a moment that Dan and his girlfriend are watching this together, and he does not want to let the cat out of the bag that this thing is serious, and they are about to be engaged, and they have made the decision they're going to be together for a long period of time moving forward, right? So let's operate in that assumption. This couple is going to they are going to be together for a long period of time. So how should we approach this? Well, I think one of the things that you ought to do, and any couple that's trying to navigate this, say, okay, now if we're going to have a plan where we're both jointly moving forward together, it probably doesn't need to be like my plan and your plan moving in different directions. Probably need to figure out how do we get one plan together moving in the same direction towards a common goal. And we need to define what those goals are. Hey, we want to save for financial independence, and we want to have a family, and we want to buy a house, and we want to move, and we want to, do all of these things. But once you have now prioritized the goals that you guys have as a couple, then you can begin deciding, okay, what are the appropriate steps for us to attack those goals in time? So that's the way that I would navigate that. So does it make sense for us to get really, really aggressive and live off of one income and have another income paying off the student loan debt? Well, maybe if the interest rates substantiate that and it aligns with your goals. But I think before you can have any of those conversations, you have to have that conversation about very long-term goal planning, not short-term goal planning, very long-term goal planning.
Well, I think we have some extremes here. I mean, Dan's extreme is almost in the same as you just go to Vegas, get married. Now all of a sudden you can turn two into one. That's one extreme. And then you got the other extreme, because I think about my childhood growing up. My parents, I don't know how accurate this was, but supposedly my mom gave my dad trouble because he had financed some furniture or something, and they didn't want to get married until he paid off some of that debt. So, I mean, that's the other extreme, is you just basically say, you know what, the carrot is that I'm all yours when you pay off that, some form of this 120. So those are the extremes. Go ahead and just go to Vegas. You take on half of this. The other extreme is you just say, stinks to be in your situation. I'm waiting here for you when you get it over the tax. I mean the loan free threshold. The answer lies in between somewhere in there, and that's the thing that, because Bo, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I know that after y'all got married, your wife had some student loans. And y'all did turn it into a priority, but it was part of a more balanced approach. I mean, you were even talking about shampoo on the honeymoon and budgets. So there's a lot of steps in between this.
Your language was so great right there. And I want to be very clear. When we got married, my wife did not have student loans.
Yeah,
we had student loans.
True.
And that's the thing, Dan, I think that you and your girlfriend have to talk, because you said, hey, my girlfriend has this loan, and I'm going to support her so that she can pay off her student loans. I think you guys should reframe the conversation and figure, okay, what's the we here? Are we going to live off of one income, and are we going to attack these student loans? Because if it's I and me and mine and you and yours, I worry about, okay, maybe there's a bigger conversation that needs to take place. So it wasn't even a question for us. When my wife and I got married, she brought in those student loans. I was like, bring them on. These are ours now. How are we going to attack these? What are we going to do? How are we going to knock them out? And we were able to do that collectively as a unit, get through those, and then move on to more fun wealth building things.
I do think it's a bigger question, though, of in relationships, you should talk about, just like you should talk about, hey, religion, kids, money. Because, we just did a stat on a recent show that 40% of divorces are driven by financial stress and bad things like that. So if you're avoiding these conversations, I think the starting line on this is, instead of you being the solution and saying, hey, because that might be be careful. I'm thinking about how I think about I don't know how deep into this, if they just started dating last week and he's just like, man, I am marrying this girl and I found out that she's got $120,000 of student loan and man, wouldn't she be impressed if she finds out I'm successful enough that I could go ahead and boost this? That would be premature. It just wouldn't be. So that's why there's a time and a place, and I think we've given you the breadcrumbs is that you figure out how you do this in a balanced way. But yeah, by the time, if y'all been dating for, a period of time and everything's lining up and this is going to be your spouse for life, then, at some point this will become y'all's debt that you have to navigate. I just want to make sure that you've actually done the work and not run into some situation where, the motivation or the why doesn't intersect with what's going on in life.